My contract has been renewed. Welcome back to Persona 1.
Sorry, Vishnu. Sorry, Matt. Sorry, subscribers, for that 2-week break on Persona parts. I think that might have been the best one yet, Matt.
Anyway, we learn here that Guido is actually Chris's brother.
Ooh. It's Guido behind the door. Remember,
well, they're technically half brothers.
2 weeks ago, we were wondering what's behind the door. It's Guido.
What do you think happened to them in that 2-week span, Johnny?
I don't know. Rehearsing.
Rehearsing? No, actually, Vishnu was getting his contract worked out. So yeah, basically, Chris is technically a bastard child in a way. The mother stayed behind with Chris, but the father tossed him out. Why that happened, I don't know.
Do we ever meet those parents?
No, and we don't really care. The dad's dead.
Oh.
We met Chris's mother, and that's how we got him in the party. And Chris got struck by lightning.
Damn, I hate when it happens.
She channeled the fucking Joker.
Son of a bitch.
That was still the most retarded moment I've seen in that game.
Of course, never forget.
So now, while Chris is on bended knee and hurting from getting hit by lightning, we're now going to start to rip off the Italian's face. Yes, that's May's compact. Now they have two compacts. They have 2 halves of the whole compact now.
Sound like defend themselves on 2 temple guards.
Yep. Well, actually 1. Remember?
Well, yeah, that's right. Full pen. It's only 1. Damn it! There's still that one looming around. The fuck you, temple guard.
You know, I always hated that fucking rule. It's like the half of it is useless. So why the fuck do I even have it in the first place?
Yeah. Pawn it.
Anyway, now that he has the compact, we can grant Guido's true wishes, and the best tool he has for nihilism, the Chaos Mirror,
which grants the user magical powers.
Yeah. Remember the mirror we saw at the black market?
Yeah, I do.
This is more like an advanced version of that. The mirror that Selena had was most likely, and I'm pretty much just theorizing here, Selena's mirror was most likely made with the power of half the compact, which is why it came with a few side effects.
Like the moles.
Yeah,
like
that, and she doesn't have the quite frankly the right of power to use it. I'll explain that later. Meanwhile, X-Death makes a surprise appearance.
Into the dimensional rift.
Whoa! Vishnu, X-Death, you get the fuck out of my game.
So it was sucked into the void and spat out something completely different.
That's the Deva Yuga.
The Deva Yuga.
Which sounds like a nihilist yogurt.
A Greek yogurt, yeah. With fruit in the bottom?
Nah. Fruit on the bottom, despair on top.
Oh. You gotta take the bad with the good.
This is kind of a weird place to use this kind of music. You know, as much as I love the PlayStation version, sometimes the musical tracks don't. I mean, not in this game in particular. Here, it's the one and only time where it's really bad.
Yeah.
But sometimes it kind of gets my goat when the game uses the wrong music to symbolize a bad event.
Yeah. I have that problem. I have that problem with some things. Not so much video games, but one really blatant example I could think of is actually in Dragon Ball Z and the Japanese soundtrack, where Cell is threatening to nuke the Earth with a Kamehameha wave, and they play the fucking Spirit Bomb music, the most calming, relaxing piece of music you can probably hear.
Wow.
In Dragon Ball Z, they use it. I'm going to blow you up now.
Kind of like Moonlight Sonata in a Friday the 13th movie. And our men also get hit by lightning.
Damn it! Except for Heiyu and Mary.
Now Guido is heading back to the original world. However, we're left with a little plaything. Meet the boss of the Castle Mana, El Salavino.
El Salavino.
Its real name is I think it's called Zaruba.
Zaruba.
Yeah. It's a deity class monster.
So what is that? What is that in its head? Is that a hair or is that a brain?
It looks like it's probably hair. It does look like a brain. To be completely honest, I thought at first that was Mother Brain with the Green Giant's body.
Actually, the hairstyle kind of reminds me of Adamant from 9.
Ah, Adamant. No, Amaranth.
Amaranth, sorry.
I know.
I was actually gonna say Salamander at first, but that's his Japanese name. But
well, we couldn't fit that in English.
Yeah.
Anyway, boss battle time. I love this tune. It's Deadline.
Did we hear this before?
Yeah, it's the theme that plays before every boss battle kicks into high gear. Get away, maggots! Chris has those lovely social skills. Anyway, this boss here is weak to guns, but since I didn't update my guns from the previous battle, I'm a bit weaker here than I should be. That being said, let's get cracking.
After all that time we spent in the labyrinth, getting spell cards,
yeah, but I never left to get the new guns. But we'll be all right here. I make a stupid mistake or remark, and it's gonna cost me.
What'd you do?
Oh, no, I take it back. I do make it later, though. This boss here will spam Earth Magic at you, basically Quake Ball. He has the ability Magic Seal, which will seal your magic, and he can really punch, and he'll punch you for some alright damage. His biggest damaging attack is an attack called Ice Arrow, which is the Tier 3 bow physical attack. That's why I have Mary up here instead of the back row, because if I left her in the back row, she would have gotten completely pummeled. This boss is weak to guns, and it doesn't also resist a whole lot of other magics very well. Which they are exactly, I can't tell you. But since like I said, I usually have guns for this battle since it's weak to them. But like I said, since I'm a little underpowered, can't really do much to him.
No.
So I'm gonna just hit him with magic the best I can.
The battle's gonna take a little longer than usual, but you know.
That's usually my kind of. I normally don't mind a long boss battle. There's my mistake mark. It's gonna bite me in the ass. Anyway. A Shin Megami Tensei boss battle, and this is why I generally like a long drawn-out boss battle. If these things are going to be boss monsters, then by all means, I generally want to spend a little while fighting them and playing with them.
I don't mind long boss battles if the boss has enough strategy to not make it feel repetitive. You know?
Well, the average Shin Megami Tensei game is kind of bipolar when it comes to that.
Like
what I'm saying though is that there are some bosses like this that are just HP sponges. There are some bosses that hit you really hard, but until you can exploit a particular pattern in the weakness or have a particular setup, you can easily chump them.
That's actually my least favorite kind of boss, HP sponges. I hate them. That's my least favorite boss archetype in terms of...
I agree with you there on that part, but like I said, I just have a boner for this series in general, so yeah. I don't particularly mind it too bad. It really picks up more so in Personas 3 and 4, where you have to constantly adjust your tactics on the fly to deal with them.
Yeah.
But the thing about the average Shin Megami Tensei game, especially when you ramp up the difficulty, is that they become HP sponges that fucking hurt.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding, dude. There's like this one boss. I still remember the ultimate super boss battle Shin Megami Tensei's ever offered to me, and that's the Demi Fiend, who is the protagonist from Nocturne. If you do something wrong with him, I think you gotta like hit him with a forbidden. I think you have to have like a forbidden art on your moveset. But doing that will give him the ability to use Sky Rage, which smacks you for 7,000 or 8,000 damage in a game where your HP caps at 999.
Again, though, I hate HP sponge battles if there is little to no variety and strategy on both ends. You know, if the boss changes his tactics every 10,000 HP or something like that, you know, closer and closer to death, he gets harder and harder to kill. I don't mind that because that keeps me entertained, keeps me on my toes. I like that kind of stuff.
This game doesn't particularly do that, but this game is kind of hit and miss about that. It really depends upon how bad you set up your persona or what persona you have equipped. But a Shin Megami Tensei boss is one of those kinds that can go really bad in one fucking move. Like, you're fighting the boss, you're kicking its ass, and then it's like at the Robo-Rap battle I showed you earlier.
You were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, it's like a boss can usually pull out one of those hard-hitting spells, and then you have to scramble to get yourself back on the defensive to pick yourself up, and then scramble to the offensive.
It's like someone using a Heartless Angel on...
Right. And you know what? I have to confess, I swear to God you're never going to let me live this down. I would say that would be the one thing Final Fantasy 13 did right with its boss battles. Except 13, I don't know, way too many stupid contrivances to that. Like, our boss is going to hit you for like 13,700 HP, while your leader has about 2,000 HP at most.
Well, there's nothing wrong with giving in your opinion, a bad game a compliment, as long as you don't justify the game's overall greatness for that one thing you're complimenting it.
Yeah, like I said...
It's like, I like Sonic's level design in Sonic 06. Best game ever. Fuck no. That game still has riddled with too many fucking problems to justify a purchase.
Absolutely.
But,
Mary and Mark are now silenced.
I don't know if I want to fight this guy for very long. He's going commando out of that fucking thing.
You know what? I have noticed that Chris has been shooting him in the dick all this time. Seriously, take a look at the frickin' sprite work. Right in the balls. Right square in the balls.
He's not even aiming. He's just holding the game up with the gun.
Dance, fool. Dance like the devil in the moonlight.
What is he doing, fist pumps?
Boom! Right in the deck. Damn, Nate. Are we really sons of man? PSP version. Dead.
Are we really sons of man?
Yeah.
Or are we abominations?
You know what, that's actually kind of a valid question when you sort of think about it, because everybody has, like, the persona power is sort of like something everybody can do, in a way. We all have different facets of ourselves. But at the same time, I've never been angry enough to summon the God of War to bash things into the ground, so...
Perhaps we are demons in the eyes of a demon.
We'll learn what we are in Persona 2.
Oh. Okay, so Salavino is kaput.
Now this music should have played when Guido had the Chaos Mirror shit out.
He was taunting us.
Yeah. By the way, where do you think the Chaos Mirror went? Mary. The answer is Maggie teleported it.
Oh, okay.
However, it would have been funny as hell to imagine him trying to take that out like a repo.
With two hires.
Yeah. Maggie, do not break it. Anyway.
Turn it sideways. I can't get it through the door, Guido.
I have not thought this through. Now we got a different problem. We need to get back to our world. If you remember in the black market, there was one of the guys there at the bar told us exactly what happened in the told us about the rumor of the haunted house. So that's how we know about going to the haunted house now. It's also around this point that Chris starts edging that stick out of his ass a little bit.
For each boss battle, the stick loosens just a little more.
The word failure does not exist in the dictionary of youth. I like that saying. The PSP version says failure is not prominent in the lexicon of a youth. I'm like, okay, goofy words said the same thing. One of the reasons why I do support translations, although I will still admit this is really a bad one. It is bad, but it's not trash. I've played games with worse translations. Hey, you! What? It seems like everybody's so impatient to get his attention. Hey, you! What? It's like the mother.
And so now we have to backtrack our way out of here.
One thing I will say about the PSP version I miss: Estoma and Altoma. Not Altoma. Estoma and, what the fuck was that other spell? Triesta.
Exit spells?
Yeah, Estoma reduces the Estoma completely kills the encounter rate for enemies lower than the caster, or combined overall level of the party. I never get that one right.
Oh, so it's like repels.
Yeah. And Triesto is just out of the dungeon. I want to leave here. Boop! Out.
I like that. Do you leave by spinning in place long enough?
No, you just black out and then you black back in, like teleportation.
You pass out.
Chris slams your head into a wall, then you black
you pass out, and Guido's two mirror movers just drag you out of the labyrinth.
Takeda, please get him out of here. Yes, boss.
This is embarrassing.
Tell me about it. Anyway, on the way back out, and then I come back in here and then go back out. We won't see that second part, ladies and gentlemen. You're just seeing me leave here.
Okay.
I tend to go after some spell cards I need for a lot of Persona fusions I make a little later on.
I noticed the barcode pathway on your map is highlighted. Is that only after you travel through it?
Yeah.
Or is it like that?
Once you make the pathway through it, it'll automatically show up on your large map.
Okay.
So they're not terribly hard to figure out. I mean, once you figure out, bam.
You're gonna get to it eventually.
Well, yeah. It just sucks that that's really the only kind of variety these labyrinths have.
What, barcode labyrinths?
Yeah. Like I said, I still love Persona 1 to death. I still think the story holds up to this day. But at the same time, when the people say that we've gotten better, it means, in other words, there are just so many better options right now that if you want to go back to this as for a history lesson and for a good story,
yeah,
fine.
If you're in the mood for something a little more archaic.
Well, not archaic, just more so where your
roots are. I don't necessarily. I don't mean when I say archaic, I don't necessarily mean that negatively. I just
like Devil May Cry 1.
It's just matter of fact.
It's like Devil May Cry 1. Yeah. So many games have built upon and evolved the traditional combat system that Devil May Cry 1 first imposed, that if you want to go back to play Devil May Cry 1, fine, but you're going to be ancient at it. By the way, do you happen to see that silhouette of the blue-haired woman in the back there?
I do.
Kuchisakion. That monster is impossible to negotiate with pleasantly. In other words, everything you say will pretty much piss it off, with the exception of Chris's magic. You have to do one of two things with her. You got to get lucky with the contracts, and hope like hell, she builds a constant interest in whatever you say long enough. Of course, that's before you piss her off. or you do what I call a freak succession.
A freak succession?
A freak success, so to speak.
Tapping into my Metal Gear expository.
Yeah, I used the wrong word, succession. Success.
Success.
In other words, let me put it to you like this. There are times when you do the fusion system that when you elicit a completely different emotion, you can actually get the spell card from that. I had one playthrough where I had Ellen at 5/8 Moon. She pissed off the lips, or the Kuchisakion, and she just went, "God's sake, you suck at arguing! You know what? Just take the damn card!" And that's how I got her card once.
So the moon the phase of the moon affects that.
The phase of the moon does affect demon negotiation to an extent. By and large, what worked before will work again, but it's not a 100% foolproof science.
Persona 1 and 2 are the only games that have the...
Have you talking to demons?
Yeah.
Like
this... 3 introduced social links?
Yeah, 3 introduced social links where you're talking to other people to build up your persona powers.
Okay.
It's still it's like a negotiation system at a different angle.
Do you think that's better than what we have here in Persona
I like both.
1 and 2?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I personally enjoyed talking to demons. I could easily do that in Shin Megami Tensei games as well. But I don't mind talking to humans in the Persona world either. Like, it's just two ways around it when you really think of it. And while Persona 3 and 4 maybe anime is all hell, it was really a good run for it, you know? Like, it showed you that JRPGs weren't such a bad thing. Except for that god-awful 3-hour introduction in Persona 3, but that's really the only sore spot with it. I'm not kidding.
Better or worse than Kingdom Hearts 2?
Worse.
Ooh.
3 hours of non-interactivity.
Jesus Christ.
All you're pressing is X, 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 X. But
the only real visual critique I have with the Persona series so far, because again, I haven't really experienced 3 or 4 yet, is that, like, visually, for an RPG, it's a little too down-to-earth for me. It's not fantastical. I mean, you have demons.
We have humans, and we're talking to demons by summoning gods that apparently existed within our heads. Persona is nuts.
Persona is nuts from what it incorporates in terms of gameplay. You know, yes, obviously it's not really down to earth when you're talking to demons or summoning your inner self with via whatever. And we got people like Philemon and Igor, but like setting wise, you're in a school, you're in a city, it's not very interesting to look at.
Not necessarily. There's one of two ways of going about it. I mean, I can understand your mentality, but my mentality is like I'm the kind of guy that could balance my mentality depending upon what I'm seeing. If I were to see Persona in some sort of realm like Final Fantasy 13, I'd be going, what the fuck is this shit? This isn't Final Fantasy. Shin Megami Tensei, well, Persona sub-series really, isn't Final Fantasy in the traditional sense of, I'm going to go inside this cave, I'm going to go bash the hell out of this monster, I'm going to go collect 25 bear asses. No. But
do we collect bear asses in this game?
We'll collect something like bear asses. But what I'm trying to say, though, is that it kind of works in Persona's benefit. I mean...
It's different.
It's different, right. But the thing is, though, is that I can get behind the WRPG notion of going inside caverns, doing this shit, doing that shit, this, that, and the third.
No, actually,
but Persona 3, not Persona 3, but Persona series in general, they try to incorporate a mixture of the two into one whole world, and while it's hit and miss for some, I personally liked it.
It's RPG. It's an RPG mentality in more contemporary settings.
Right, and I kind of like that.
Well, all right, then at this point, it's a matter of different taste, because to me, I'd rather it be in a more fantastical world.
And Persona 1 doesn't do a good job of showing that off, per se. Persona 2... Well, Persona 2 starts at the weird and goes into the fantastical. Believe it or not, this world is actually more fantastical than you think it is.
But from what our
time so far,
from
yes,
our time in
I'm
the
trying to hide spoilers too.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. And in that case, then I won't dwell into it. But from what we've seen so far, it's a parallel world, but it doesn't look that much different from the original.
There's a reason.
Okay, then we'll wait until we get into it.
Besides, it's a parallel world. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the fact that there's a parallel world to begin with screams, fantasy and stuff like that.
But not even fantasy. It just screams that you're going to be seeing the same elements. It's a parallel world. It's not necessarily another dimension.
But what's in the parallel world? What I'm saying here is that besides the black TV scan lines, and the
reason for that,
and the forest that we went into earlier,
reason for that
is there's not. I'm seeing more of modern buildings, construction work sites, and triangles.
Trust me on this, bro. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, and I'll take your word for it. It's just that so far, how many hours are we into the game?
Quite a few.
Quite a few. It's just that it's still, visually speaking, it's not exactly grabbing me. Gameplay wise, a little more so.
Well, like I said, this is also early PSX, and frankly, this is kind of like one of those things where it's really trying to hit its stride early on, you know?
It's looking for an identity.
Right, at first. Right.
At first. Yeah.
It will pick up.
And I'll take your word for that.
Like I said, I'm going to explain everything once we clear out the Deva Yuga. In the meanwhile, what I decided to do here, and thanks to Johnny's wonderful editing, is I choose to make up a few extra personas that I'm going to want for the next dungeon, because these persona here I want to return and get their weapons. I also want to make some more stronger persona so that I can get A, return them for their weapons, and B, have something to really fight with. Let's see what I start off with here. Make Odin, stupid. In that combination, stupid. Now I have the now I have the blue arrow down, but I'm still getting with extra 20 points in my fusion. Plus, if I choose to throw in the right bullets, I'm going to get an additional power. I recommend you make Odin in any game you play. Odin is strong against all types of magic, except maybe holy, I believe. And it has the ability to petrify enemies. Of all the statuses in this game, petrification, particularly Petrifies' accuracy, is god helpful. Not to mention that its own other abilities, such as Blazall, I'm going to inherit from this Jin monster, and Quake, Drago Spear, Quake All, they're pretty good abilities.
Is petrification in this game pretty much like a budget death?
No, it's not a budget death. They still stay stoned, and you pretty much can wail on them until they die off.
Okay.
But it's impossible to but it's almost impossible to recover from once you've been hit by it. As a matter of fact, I don't think you actually do recover from it. It's one of those permanent statuses.
So it might as well be death.
Yeah.
Assuming you can capitalize on it.
Right. I also make Bridget. I'm not sure if I showed off here, if we just automatically have it in the next part. I also make Mephisto, and I make Cerberus. Which are... Now, I know what you're thinking. Cerberus, three-headed guard dog of hell. No. Shin Megami Tensei uses another type of Cerberus, which is usually a white hound with a rat tail. Or a white lion with a rat tail.
What mythology are we talking here? Or is this completely new?
Shin Megami Tensei usually follows the mythology to a T when it comes to their monsters.
Like what kind of mythology? Like Greek, Norse?
All of them.
Oh, okay.
Mordo here is pretty much a monk. I know. Now, like I said before, the spell stats don't look that impressive, but you have to consider that offensive magic power among chariots is normally high. Plus, when you use them correctly, like I'm doing with this, he's going to have the spell Quake All at level 2. So he's going to hit really freaking hard. Unless I just used the wrong combination. But he'll hit really hard with his magical power, and that's most important.
I like to imagine Igor just flapping his lips when he's on the phone. He's like, because that's all I hear.
I actually imagine your Mario animation at the pipe dreams.
Well, maybe you're speaking like Mario and Luigi. You play Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga?
I have not, much to my shame.
Okay, because Mario and Luigi actually do communicate to each other via gibberish.
Right.
You know, it's
gibberish.
Well, gibberish, whatever. And Mario...
No, Johnny, it's like saying chasm. No.
Okay, then I'm wrong. Okay. Gibberish. You know, but they don't actually say words. It's just more like Italian jokes. Like, and then look at it go.
So they talk like Popeye?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, boy. Now, I want to make something else pointedly clear here, because I'm pretty sure I didn't say it in the other parts, or I probably should have said it in the other parts. What I'm showing you here, ladies and gentlemen, is a way to optimize your persona. But by no means do you have to constantly do this. You can easily get by just fine on just making the fusions alone, and you can still finish the game. No problem. What I'm showing here is years of practice and playing. And yes, I'm stroking my dick. You just can't see it.
There's nothing wrong with a little confidence, Matt. As long as you don't wave your dick around.
You know, ever since I waved my dick at that party, you've never forgiven me for it.
So much to clean up.
That's what Lee said. Anyway, I leave here because I'm at a bit of a crossroads right now. Normally, I have enough money to purchase the weapons and armor as they come up, but since this time around I decided to buy Brax, or the item for the big Brax, I ended up being a little behind in my finances. So right now we're just going to work on trying to get some new shit together here. In particular, I'm still wearing the silver shit, when in reality I can easily have the Yaksha equipment.
Yaksha?
It's called Jagged.
Jagged.
In J-A-G-D, in the PSP version. But it's really the strongest armor you can buy. But not the strongest armor in the game.
The strongest armor you can buy in a shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
The best armors in the game are the Caesar equipment. However, they didn't really think through exactly how you're supposed to get them.
As mentioned, it's full of holes.
You fucker. Nah, just one big one where it doesn't where it counts the most. Anyway, what was I saying? The Caesar head you get from returning a level 44 Empress persona. To get that persona, you need to spend some coins at the casino and get its fusion item.
But as you mentioned earlier, you don't like doing the casino.
Well, I usually shop at the casino endgame when I could just purchase it for the coinage.
Yeah.
You have to do that 5 times to get everybody a Caesar helmet. There's the Caesar feet, which you only get by returning Elena's ultimate persona, which I can't get because I don't have Elena in the party. Oops. Plus you only get that persona once, so it's ultimately kind of a waste. The Caesar armor you get by returning a level 90 Athena persona, which you're not going to be at by the time you beat this game unless you're really doing your shitload of grinding. Plus, by the time you're like 70 or above, nothing in the game fucking touches you. And the Caesar hand you get from returning the level 55 Emperor persona, Bale. Or Bard in this game.
Yeah.
And with that, talk about the Caesar equipment. We'll see you guys next time for Persona 1.